All right, everybody, this is the Mongoose TV, and today what we're going to be doing is basic planet management in Stellaris. So what I'm doing here is I'm booting up a old run, an old save that I have. This is a robot cyborg run that I've been doing. And let's go ahead and pick one of these worlds for us to look at, or sorry, one of these planets. Now, this screen can seem kind of daunting in the beginning, but it's all relatively straightforward. And the first thing that you want to look at is the planet size. And this is definitely something you want to consider when you're thinking about invading or taking over another planet. Planet size, in this case it's 18, shows the available tiles in that planet. So really, it shows the available districts that you can build. And typically, as a rule of thumb, 13 or 14 planet size is my minimum if I do want to conquer a planet. There are some nuances there, obviously, and sometimes it might be worth conquering another planet if it's small. But typically, I will take over anything that's over 13 or 14. The next thing that we have here is and I suck at saying this word, the habitability of that planet. So, for example, if your species is an Arctic world species, they'll have 100% habitability. But let's say, if this was a savanna world, it would have much lower habitability for my species, and therefore the output would likely decrease. Next thing that we have here is a sector governor. We're not going to worry about that for today's video. And I can also hire a governor to essentially govern this planet, and that'll give boosts to the planet depending on the traits of that governor. And it can be a scientist, an official, or a commander. It doesn't necessarily have to be an official. Now, another thing that you'll notice, and this is actually not a good example, is sometimes planets have these unique features, and you definitely want to take these into consideration because it can really guide you as to how you want to specialize the planet. And specializing the planet is extremely important because it increases the productivity of your entire system. And what I mean by that is here we have an asteroid belt, and because we have an asteroid belt, the engineering research from mining drones is +1, and we get +4 mining districts. So that to me shows that I either want to build a mining world here, which I have, or maybe an engineering world, but probably not because the engineering research is coming from the mining drones, which work in the mining districts. So that leads me to my next point here, which is specializing planets. And this is really important, and this is how you can really take your game to the next level from a beginner to an intermediate. You really want to specialize the planets because it gives significant bonuses to your planet output production. So for example, here I've made a mining world, and that will give all of my mining drones and strategic resource gatherers plus 25% output. That is really significant. And as you can see, I have built out every single mining district to take advantage of that boost that the specialization gives me. And on top of that, I also didn't ignore the fact that it also increased the strategic resource gatherer output. And therefore, I've even sprinkled in some strategic resource buildings, like the exotic gas refineries, as well as the chemical plants for the volatile motes. Now, you can see that I can build an additional 8 districts here. So 25 minus 8 means that I probably have 17 tiles filled out already. So we are in good shape. Now, I can't build any more mining districts because I'm all out of tiles here, but that's completely fine. Maybe I'll start building out some more industrial districts to boost my alloy production as well. Now let's go to buildings. Buildings are relatively straightforward, right? You're just going to build whatever is relevant for this specific world that you're building or specialization. So for example, because I have a mining district built, I want to make sure that I have a mineral purification hub to boost the output of all of my mining. I can also unlock additional building slots through either A, tech, B, creating or building nexus districts, which gives me, in this case, +8 housing, as well as an additional building slot. So that's going to be important for your example, your unification centers, where you're not necessarily focusing on your industrial districts, your generator districts, your mining districts, but you actually want to build quite a few nexus districts, or whatever your species version calls it, so that I can unlock a bunch of building slots available for my unification production, which in this case are the uplink nodes. Now here we have some other things like stability. Stability is a function of your housing and your amenities. So as a general rule of thumb, you always want to keep your housing above 0, and you always want to keep your amenities above 0. And I believe the higher your amenities are, the higher your stability will be. And a high stability will give you production boosts on your resources. So it is relatively important. It is something that you want to keep an eye on. Here we have the current population broken down by the different species. Here we have crime, and there's certain buildings that you can build to reduce crime. So in this case, I have, where is it? A sentinel post. So in the robot run, it's actually called deviancy, not crime. But if I have a high deviancy here, what I would do is start building some sentinel posts to counteract the deviancy. Now, what we have here are the available jobs. So typically, if there are 0 available jobs, I want to probably start building out some more tiles or buildings so that I can create jobs for the population that's growing within this planet. And unemployment here is 1, which means that, again, because we have unemployment, we want to go ahead and build some tiles or some buildings to get those people employed. Last thing that I'm going to show for today's video, we're going to go ahead and let's do a couple more things. We're going to ignore the sector function. That's not that important right now. But also, planet automation is a great quality of life tool. So typically what I do is I will automate the amenities, the pop assembly, so the growth of the population on my planet, and deviancy, which means that, for example, if my amenities ever get close to 0, the system will automatically start building amenity-producing buildings, or buildings that produce workers that produce amenity, so I don't have to micromanage that myself, right? So I can take care of all of the tiles, or the districts, the buildings, the features, but I want to leave it up to the system to turn on, or to really manage the amenities, the pop assembly, as well as the deviancy. You can really go custom here. I wouldn't suggest automating everything, because then you kind of lose control, and it can have some economic disaster effects later in the game. But doing it for amenities, pop assembly, and deviancy has generally been pretty helpful for me. Now, another thing that we can do is look at the features. This is a bad example because there aren't any features for us to play with, but let's find something that we have. Cool. So here we have some blockers. And blockers essentially block you, as the title suggests, from building out certain tile slots. So right here you can see, if I hover over this 5, that the agriculture district is locked by a blocker, just one of them, and 2 generator districts are locked by blockers. And what I can do, assuming that I've unlocked the technology, is just click this button to unblock those tiles, and that will then allow us to use those tiles to build additional districts. We also have some special features here. So here we have an isolated valley. Let's see what that actually does. I'm not entirely sure. Yep, not entirely sure what that does, but usually it gives you some additional features. Whatever that is, I don't currently know because it's not giving me the drop down, but that's okay. I never really think about planet production or planet deficit just because as an aggregate, as my empire as a whole, it should all funnel up pretty nicely there. So if you have one planet that's running at a deficit for a certain resource, that's completely fine. Really, you can build a separate planet with a separate specialization to make up for that deficit. So for example, I can build another generator world, specialize it in creating energy credits, and that'll offset the deficit of this planet. That is going to be it for today's video. We can handle population, armies, and holdings at another time, and I'll tie it together all in a YouTube series or playlist, but really to master your planets and really just your society and your empire altogether, just getting a fundamental understanding of how to manage the planets, like we just walked through, is going to be crucial and critical for your success in the game. Awesome. Well, if you enjoyed the video and found it helpful, definitely give me a subscribe. Whoop, right there. I think it'll be right there. And follow me on Twitch. I stream at least 4 or 5 times a week on Stellaris or other strategy games, sometimes some other stuff. But stay tuned. A lot more will be coming. See you guys later.